welcome once again to another episode of Jeng's Daily Dose, as they call it. Hope it's not going to be an overdose. We pray that it's not an overdose, because overdose is kill. But we are trying to do our level best to make sure that we, share our concern with everyone that is out there, being it government or their subjects. Because as we can see, we're living in a very agonizing moment where we have two awful alternatives. Like the Greek thought, the horns of Diellema. We are in two different situations right now. And whichever situation we choose could be very destructive. It's truly a dilemma. We stay at home. We don't know how long they're going to lock us down at home. If it reaches there, it's a disaster. Going to interact in public places, it's a disaster. So now the million-dollar question is, what exactly can we do? It's a very tough question to answer, though. Both people and government are challenged right now. People are put under pressure. But I want to reason with everybody here right now. I just don't want to play the blame game. I don't want to blame the government. I don't want to blame the people either. I want to be proactive here. Because when you look at these 2 decades, it's the worst era of human history, where we experience leaders who act like people who have bipolar. And the reason why I go to this is because we're faced by probably a situation where we are just randomly trying to search for solutions. But before a solution is met, I think diving through the problem and knowing what exactly the problem is, could give a heads up. And through my thoughts, like I've been thinking and looking at these 2 decades, since year 2000 up to today, so much lives have been destroyed, either by war, being it civil war, being it tribal war, being it war on terror, being it natural disasters, tsunamis, and now this virus that is going around killing people. It's agonizing, it's painful. But let's look at it from this perspective. Human beings have died in wars, and when you look at battlefields, nobody has the time to bury the dead. Iraq alone, more than 2 million people died. Afghanistan, in Africa, Angola, Libya, in the Middle East, Syria, Yemen. When you look at the back way, thousands of people, if not millions, died in the sea, consumed by fish. So what I'm looking at right now, what are the potential that are there that is spreading this virus that is killing us that we don't even know where it came from? And there's this blame game going on. We are not looking at things realistically. People say it comes from China. I'm not saying it, I'm not blaming the Chinese. The Chinese say it came from the United States. I'm not blaming the United States either. I don't want to go into the blame game. But my problem here is not who is wrong. My problem here is what is wrong. There's something wrong somewhere. If we all sift to what is wrong and we start reinventing the wheels of the way we are doing our things, then we will not have a potential of another virus that comes out. Today, too many wars are going on, and we know what human beings are if they die and decay. The environment is polluted, and people are not dying in thousands. People are dying in millions, left on the face of the earth to decay. Who have the time to bury these people? People are dying in the sea, being consumed by fish, decayed in the sea, eaten by fish. And we are the very ones that consume this fish. And the Chinese are out there eating everything. The Chinese, they eat everything. Frogs, snakes, animals, they eat everything. For God's sake, we are so connected. We are so connected. Everybody have to play a part for us to upkeep this world. We're all living in it together. We're all living in this world together. The reason why I dive into this topic is to give a general overview. Even though we're Gambians, we are small, but our opinion also matters. To all the international heads that are out there, fine, look at the problem right now, but also the way you're tabling the economy. After all this is gone, please, you have to table and put your acts together and make sure that you end this killing that's going on around the world. Today, the United States, they are the highest weapon manufacturers, and all these weapons that they sell outside the world is destroying lives. And all these lives that are destroyed in these wars, they lay down on the ground. I think there should be a ban in these weapons that they create, because lives have been destroyed and our environment is polluted with dead bodies. God knows where this virus came from. And there should be regulations. I'm not saying we should eat what we should eat. And really, when you look at where the virus came from, it's China. And we all know what China eats. They eat everything. Frogs, snakes, you name them. We are all vulnerable because we're all living together. We should control. We should really control. That was just a heads up, a general overview of the way I see things and my opinion when it comes to this global thing that we're going through. Coming back to Gambia and coming back to the haunts of Diellema I'm talking about, right now we are at a point whereby there is a dilemma. And the dilemma is people are afraid now to go out and associate. Shopkeepers are closing their shops. People are afraid to interact. We are locking ourselves down even before the government lock us down. where are we going to end up? When you lock yourself down, you're going to end up stranded, broke. And when you are broke, no food. And when there's no food, hunger. And hunger destroys lives. We're going to end up destroying our own lives, reacting to something that we are conjuring in our minds out of fear. People are reacting out of fear. The information that is sent out there is not properly processed. It's just generating negative energies. The environment is charged with negative energies. All the thinking is just negative. All the thinking is just negative. So what exactly can we do to make sure that we try and create positive thinking in the minds of the people? There should be balance in everything that we do. But it's becoming imbalanced. And when it becomes imbalanced, the people that will suffer most is the people that live from hand to mouth. People who get out there and struggle during the day to have something that they will take home to feed themselves and their families. A huge number of people within the Greater Banjul area lives from hand to mouth. It's the same money that they gather together. It's the same money they used to pay rent. And the landlords are sitting down there with their hammers. They have no patience. At the end of the month, you have to pay your rent. If you don't work, how can you pay your rent? How can you buy cash power? Electricity needs money. That shopping that you do, the food that you buy, some of it, if you don't refrigerate them, they will get spoiled. So if you do not struggle and get out there and work, how can you sustain yourself? The sustainability. But if you get out there also, there's a potential that you can contract a disease, which your mind is giving you. So you are caught up in the middle of fear, the haunts of dilemma. Either you stay at home and die, or you get out there and contract a disease and die. That's what the mind gives you. So now what exactly can you do? Now this is where government comes in. Because people, that's where they're stuck. They are left with no choice. The only thing they know is going to work. And now work is becoming a threat. The only thing they know is to stay home. And the last option is to run away. Run away where? We are surrounded by Senegal. Running away in a country where there is this crisis. You run away, you find it there too. It's all over. We are surrounded. We are in the midst of dilemma. So now, that's where government champions our situation. That's where the government is going to champion our situation. Champion it how? By coming in with alternatives. Involving the private sector. Involving the NGOs. Involving all the stakeholders to create an army. To create an army that will fight against the social crisis we're going through, the economic crisis we're going through, and the health crisis we're going through. They should be able to table it and derive solutions that they're going to come in phases. It's not going to be a switch method. On and off is over. No. This is a process. And the process will take time. It will take energy. It will take sacrifice. Somebody has to lose something. Somebody have to let something go. We have to sacrifice our resources, ourselves, our time. We all have to volunteer. Now it's about time for government to create a think tank. There should be a think tank that should be there 24/7, round the clock, trying to make sure that they keep the pace in which everything is just rolling, to make sure that we have grip of the situation so that we won't overdo things or we won't underdo things. We will keep the pace, marrying what happens around the globe to what the realities are on the ground here, so that we can have a stable pace to make sure that we are there for the people. Because the people have exhausted their alternatives. They have only two alternatives: stay away from work and stay home. Clean their hands, sanitize, wear mask, and stay away from one another. That's all they can do, because that's all the information that is being portrayed out there that is under control. So now we need to create a third alternative. That's where government comes in. The think tank have to be ready. All the stakeholders need to be ready to contribute. The telecommunication companies should be ready. People are going to stay home. Imagine how connected people are on the internet. To me, you should be ready to give free internet. NAWEC should be ready to give free cash power. At least every home should have enough cash power. Because if this has to go out of hands, like it or not, there will be crisis. NAWEC is not going to make money. Who's going to go out there and go buy cash power? People will be afraid to travel. There will be lockdowns. Whom will you sell cash power? Who's going to buy? Who's going to buy credit? And where are you going to buy this credit? So they should be ready to come together and facilitate. It's time to give, like I said. It's time to come together and create that solid unit. It's time for the employees and the employers to show commitment to one another, especially the employers to their employees. They should be there for them. They will not be able to come to work. Few will be able to come to work. But the rest still are your employees. Be ready to sacrifice and pay them full wages, even if they cannot make it to work. Because it's not their fault. It's neither your fault too. But the company has made enough profit. Government also should be ready to give tax incentives. They should be ready to look at the private sector, to look at the NGOs, to partner with them, so that we will have enough resources, so that we will have enough strategies, so that we will have enough opinions to be able to fight this together. It's from Khartoum to Koina, remember. It's from Khartoum to Koina. This is a countrywide crusade. Everybody matters. The one in the cities and the one in the remotest village. As long as you're a Gambian, every Gambian on the Gambian soil is our responsibility. It takes the whole nation. It takes the whole nation to take care of an individual. We'll stop here until the next episode. Thank you very much.